guys, Adam from Ecowise here, and I'm actually at my house this time. Normally I take you down into the natural places to see wild plants and animals and stuff. I think the only thing I've shown you that wasn't the grape. If you've seen the grapevine, I don't know, you'll probably see it in one of these videos, I don't know. But this is my little vegetable garden here. And at this time of lockdown, we're eating a lot from our vegetable garden, although it's early spring. And most of the stuff is, if it's come out, it's tiny seedlings. There's quite a few. Well, look at this for a start. Come over this way. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Careful, don't trip over here. Don't trip over. Here we got some parsley. Here, I'm showing you. Some parsley, some chives, some dill. Here, come this way, this way, this way. There's some celery down here. Some baby parsley over here. Here's some cool, look at all these different kinds of lettuce. The thing about having a small vegetable garden is not only can you, if it goes right, eat some of these things that are beautiful, it also puts you into contact with nature and makes you realize that, like I said to you before about the tadpoles, everything we do has consequences. So it makes you start to think, like all of these lettuces here started out as tiny baby plants, and I've cared for them and I've nurtured them, and of course, I'm not the one that makes them grow. They grow. Given the right conditions, a lettuce seed will turn into a lettuce. If any of the conditions are not correct, it won't. If it's not hot enough or warm enough, or if it's too dry, or it gets too, it gets eaten by insects. There's so many things that can happen. By the way, with my vegetable garden here, I do it organically. I don't like to hurt the things that are around me. So sometimes the things that are here come and they get eaten by insects or by wild boar or the rest of it. But by caring for my little vegetable garden, it's generous to me. And by caring for my little vegetable garden, I learn about nature's bigger principles and how connected we are and how we've got to really care, because all of us eat food, right? And the last time I did a video for you guys where we looked at the wild stinging nettles and the wild hops, and I talked about, for a long time, humanity. Before we had agriculture, that's how all of us fed, hunted and gathered, but especially gathered. Hunting was a small thing. We probably scavenged more than hunted. But once we had agriculture, we tended to stay still. We tended to care for particular plants, and our society changed. In different civilizations, different places, people became specialized, and those that produced food became more and more separated from the majority of us. Like now, most of us in the world live in cities, and we probably don't know much about how our food is produced and how it gets to us. The news is this: the way that our food is mostly produced is like industrial agriculture. Big, I don't know if you've seen this, wherever you live, big fields where they control it and they manage it using petrochemicals, using chemicals, herbicide, pesticides, fertilizers, you know what I'm talking about. They come from, by the way, oil, and they're kind of poisonous. Now, biodiversity, you lose it. Habitat destruction, one of the main things that's destroying the habitats on our planet. This virus, by the way, came out of a habitat that was destroyed and disturbed, is agriculture. Agriculture is what provides us with food. Now, in my little garden here, I've got so many different kind of lettuces here. I've got this kind that's got these leaves that are crinkly and it's quite soft and it's green. This one here that's also got kind of wavy, soft leaves and it's a nice red color. This one here that's got kind of a mauve color and it's like, this is sweet, this one's a bit more sour or bitter. Some of them have got a different texture, some are crunchy, some are more like eating pieces of wood. Some of them, depends, they're all different, right? There's even some spinach there, but so much diversity. And that's good because they look different, they taste different, they grow in different ways, they give me different nutrients, they keep me healthy, this diversity. Agriculture that's big scale, that farmers do, There's nothing wrong. Farmers aren't doing anything wrong, by the way. You should be grateful to farmers. They're feeding us and feeding the planet. But farmers tend to have these big fields with one thing, monocultures. Like this whole area, imagine if I just put potatoes here. Well, I get quite a lot of potatoes, but if something happened, and something like the wild boar came down to eat my potatoes, they would know the potatoes here, and they would probably take out, in fact they did, but I had a little patch of potatoes, and they ate that, and that's all right, so I don't plant potatoes here anymore. If this was all potatoes, the wild boar could come and eat all the potatoes, and then I wouldn't have any potatoes. But by having diversity, I've got resilience in my little vegetable garden. And large-scale agriculture doesn't have that, right? So why am I saying this? Because right now, wherever you are, we should be aware of where our food comes from and the consequences of what we eat and how we eat. Now, some people, by the way, say, oh, we've got nearly 8 billion people on the planet, and if we're going to feed them all, we had to have highly industrialized, technocratic agriculture with pesticides and herbicides and even genetically modified organisms that we don't know what's going to happen with that stuff. But it's not true. If you look at the statistics and the research, you produce much more and much more quality when you have small-scale, locally produced produce, especially if each of us has it in our garden. For instance, I come from England, and in England about 100 years ago, it became not cool to have vegetables in your garden. Gardens became a place where you took tea and you sat next to your herbaceous border and you showed your friends all the pretty flowers because it looked so beautiful, because that meant that you had the money to pay somebody else to grow your vegetables. Nowadays, in England, there is they even in England have this tradition of keeping vegetable gardens separate in the allotment. There's a whole socio-economic class thing related to that. I'm not going to talk about it because you guys are only 8, 9, 10. But you get what I'm saying. This is a cool place where I spend my time when we're on lockdown. Hopefully some of you guys have got vegetable gardens where you live. And if you don't, well, when this lockdown lets up, which it will, think about it. Think next time, if we ever have another lockdown, I would like to have some fresh herbs in my garden that I can spice up all these strange things that we're having to start to eat, because we can't necessarily get the things that we used to. Maybe some of you guys eat McDonald's and you get Kentucky Fried Chicken. Well, you can't because it's all closed, right? So what are you going to eat? So think about how we produce food and get more involved with it, because it's really fun and it's tasty and it's good. Bye-bye.